tool that's helping to keep DC safer and stronger. And I am delighted to launch the Crime Cards, and it is a mobile, modern, and interactive version of the DC crime map. The updated Crime Cards are a demonstration of how technology and innovation can come together to improve service delivery and how we more efficiently use technology to keep people safe. So we know that when we have multiple ways for Washingtonians to communicate with DC agencies, MPD in particular, we have more effective outcomes. So over the past 3 years, to build a more transparent system, we have equipped our police officers with body-worn cameras, a program that is one of the most progressive and transparent anywhere in the U.S. We have established a private camera rebate program for DC residents and small businesses to give us more information in the case that there is a crime and to try to deter crime in all 8 wards across the district. We have also developed policies and programs to grow our police force as our population continues to increase by focusing on hiring more DC residents and investing in more productive relationships with our community. And so now we're here to talk about this enhanced crime map. So Chief Newsham is going to talk to you about how this will work for MPD and help us be even more transparent and accountable to our communities. Then you're going to hear from our interim CTFO, Barney Krutkoff, who will talk about how this technology was developed with his team and our partners. Chief Newsham.
Okay, good morning. The first thing I would like to do, and this is a little aside from the crime cards, but I think it's important, is to talk about the Stephen Slaughter case. As you know, Stephen Slaughter was a 14-year-old who was murdered in the District of Columbia. Earlier this week, some of you joined me in the announcement of an arrest related to that case. We learned through our investigation that Stephen was an attempted robbery target and was gunned down from a vehicle in the 1700 block of Minnesota Avenue Southeast just prior to 7 p.m. on Sunday, January 14th. That vehicle was located and the firearm recovered gave our detectives and some other forensics that was recovered from the vehicle gave our detectives a break in the case. And as you know, a suspect has been arrested and charged with first-degree murder. With all of the attention surrounding this case, and I actually saw a news story where Stephen's mother was speaking last night, and she made a very good point, and I think it's incumbent upon me to make the same point, is that the case, there is still at least one other individual that is out there. So we want to urge the community in this case, if they have any information, to please let us know. They can call us on 202-727-9099, or they can text us on 50411. Thank you, Mayor Bowser, and good morning to everyone about these crime cards. The Metropolitan Police Department's top priority is to maintain and continue building trust within the community that we serve. We've worked hard to be deliberate in our ability to provide crime statistics and data to the public in clear and thoughtful ways. With this in mind, over the past year, the department has worked closely with Washington, D.C.'s Office of the Chief Technology Officer to modernize our public crime mapping application. Collectively, we saw that this design as an opportunity to focus on the transparency and usability of this application, incorporating input from a variety of sources. More specifically, the project team engaged and incorporated input from sworn and civilian members of the Metropolitan Police Department, government officials from across the district, and members of our community. As you know, in 2017, we solicited feedback through a Safer, Stronger hackathon that was held here in the city. We're proud to deploy this updated application, now called Crime Cards. As you will see, the charts, graphs, and maps are generated as individual cards that can fit any size screen, phone, tablet, or desktop. In addition to being easier to use and visualize information, Crime Cards is a mobile-friendly application which enables the user to look at crime statistics aligned with an individual's specific location. The cards are built on a big data search engine, therefore the application is capable of displaying and downloading large volumes of data, which, as I've been told, is helpful for research and analysis purposes. We're very proud to have worked with our partners at Octo on this application, and we look forward to sharing it with the community. I'm now going to call forward Barney Krukoff, the interim director of Octo, to give his comments.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mayor. They've already talked about many of the aspects of the application, and I was going to show it to you. It's not going to work with everybody standing here, so what I'll do is after the mayor's finished, I'll come back up and give a more full demo. First, I do want to make a couple acknowledgments. Our lead developer, Julie Kanzler, had a family emergency today, but I think we have a very innovative application, and her whole team, we're proud of what they've done. They've done the design, the coding, the user interface. I'd also like to explain that this is not sort of a typical application for us. This is an all open source application, new data backend, and we used, in this case, some locally grown software too from Mapbox. We have the president and CEO, Roy Ng, I just promoted him, COO, and Michael Moran too also. That open source is behind the scenes. What you see in front of you, I'm going to give a little preview of the interface, is you can make 174,000 different queries in one English sentence. So in this sentence, it says, I want to explore all crimes over the past 2 years citywide on a heat map. And here it is. Here's the stats. We can scroll down, Dave. You can show some of the other types of information that comes up. You can see the individual incidents, 70,000 of them, over time, by breakdown of incidents. Each card will stack up on your mobile phone. We weren't as transparent as the mayor needed us to be on mobile devices. Before, it didn't work well on phones, and now we can, I can turn. Sorry about that. And show you. I can show some queries later if you want, but I'll let you come up. You want to do it? All right. So let's go through the sentence. Let's go back up to the top, David. And just the first pull down allows you to pick particular types of crimes. So you can pick individual types. Go ahead. Or you can pick groups of crimes. So say property versus violent. We'll just do violent. For now, you'll see the map change. When he clicks OK, you can see that it does tilt south and east on violent. Let's go back to all crimes, Berkeley, and let's change the time. We can now go up to, say, 8 years, where before we went a year. And we're just as fast as these change. That's that data backend that the chief was explaining. Let's just take it to months so we get a few more charts, because we get comparisons when we do months. Change again. Now, you can make different types of maps. This is a citywide map, and it's a heat map. So showing different darker colors means more density of crime. But let's change it from citywide to, say, near us today. If we were on a mobile phone, you could say near me, and it would know where your phone is. But we're not on a mobile phone, so we don't know that. We're going to actually enter an address, and that's called a location. And we're at 300 Indiana Avenue, and we can say within 1,000 feet. Okay. All right, we'll go further, 2,000. And we'll see individual crimes around this location. There's 174,000 different possibilities to search the crime, and each one of those you can download and do your own examination, or you can download all 8 years of crime, and you can check up on Chief Newsom and see how he's doing. We want it to engender trust. He wants to put this data out. With that, I'll wrap it up and show more later if needed.
It's remarkable. Well, thank you, Barney, for that presentation. Let's thank our partners at Mapbox, who I think worked with Octo on this. And, of course, to the Metropolitan Police Department for not only wanting to do this, but asking to make sure this data could be readily available to members of the public, to members of the press, to fellow agencies, that when we're out supporting the work of MPD, this information is also useful useful to all of the members of our administration and government officials elsewhere. So with that, we'll take on-topic questions, and then I know our MPD officials have to get to the MPD graduation, and I'll take any other questions on topic. I hear a voice. There you are.
How quickly after a crime happens does it take to update onto the crime cards?
The next day, unless it's a weekend, and which is Monday. The chief gets it sooner, but we get it after their briefing here.
All right, anything else? All right, thank you, everybody. Yep, yes, I'm sorry.
What about the old map and the old system? Is that gone forever now, or that linger for those of us who don't like change?
I worked on that in 2006, so I'm glad you like it. We intend to let it linger, and I think the user interface here is very new. It's a lot of change. I think it's very powerful what you can do. You don't have to go. The old map, if you remember, there's multiple tabs, and each tab has a form, and if you fill out the forms, you can get it. Was completely unworkable on a phone, so I think we have a much better system, but we won't allow for slow withdrawal.
It's going to be similar to getting a new phone. When you first get it, you're not really happy with it, but I think as you learn to navigate the system, you're like, wow, I can't believe it does these things. It's really pretty remarkable what they've done here.
So, Barney, do you physically download an app? How do you get it on your phone? How does it work?
No, it's a website. It'll look and feel almost like an app, but it is a responsive website.
Is an app coming? A lot of people just use their phones these days.
We could give you a shortcut to your website, but it is very phone oriented, even though it is not an app. I think you'll like it on your phone. Especially, I urge you to compare it to the old one on your phone, and you'll love it.
Perfect. Good work, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks, team. And then I'll take any other questions. See if you can get out to the next thing. Yes, sir. Yep.
The DCPS released numbers on Monday indicating that over the past 3 years, they had given $8.7 million in impact bonuses over the past 3 years. Could you describe that? Well, in light of the great inflation situation, could you react to that, and also whether or not your administration would investigate whether or not teachers and administrators were receiving these bonuses when they shouldn't have?
Well, we don't have any indication of that at this point. I think what we know, and that has concerned us about the graduation issues, is that we had at some school levels administrators, we think, pressuring teachers. We don't have any indication that teachers have done anything out of line, and that those bonuses were unwarranted. And so we will continue, of course, to always look at our recruitment and retention tool, which is Impact, to make sure that it's incentivizing people in the right ways. Yes, sir.
The marathon or the race over the
Yes.
weekend, the regulations or the enforcement is changing. I'm sure
I'll
you're
let the
glad that
chief
every
out of
police
here.
officer left.
Kevin's here, though. Okay.
So I'm just wondering, are you really going to tow every single car that's on the route tomorrow?
Okay. Let me turn to the deputy mayor.
The context for this policy is to keep participants and viewers safe. This is the first race where we're making a policy that we want a clear race where we want cars to be moved. So we put up signs. We want all residents to be able to, or anyone parked on the routes, to move the cars, and we will be out there, and the policy is to ticket and tow. This is the first time we're going to test our capacity to do that. So as a major race with a new policy, we're going to prioritize major roads and then work into residential streets. And at the end of the race, we'll have a better sense as to what our capacity is, how much responsiveness we get from residents, and what our capacity is to move them.
So will the cars be relocated?
Yeah, they will not. They will. This is what's often called a courtesy tow. So it's relocated typically around the corner to the nearest available open space.
Deputy Mayor, when did you decide, or was it somebody else, that this was the new policy in place? I got to tell you, I live 2 blocks from North Capitol, and my neighbors, I didn't know about it. What kind of push has there been to notify people? I know that some cars, there's been leaflets, but do you believe enough has been done, and when was that decision made?
The MPD came to that decision, and the rationale is there have been attacks in New York City, but also in Europe, where individuals have used gatherings of people to attack individuals who are on sidewalks or streets. Other cities have adopted this policy. We are not the first in the country to do so. Los Angeles has adopted this policy, New York City, I believe. So we are following the lead of other major cities, and I think this will become much more commonplace for cities around the country. So as other cities looked at what was happening in Europe and talked to each other, and other major cities start to make this move, MPD decided as we come up to the warm season, we have more events to be able to adopt this policy as well.
Mayor, can I ask you about your op-ed in the Miami
Sure.
Herald this morning? Obviously, that was to the residents of Florida, constituents of Senator Rubio. Have you ever talked to him directly and let him know your concerns about what he's doing?
I haven't discussed with him directly these bills. For many months and years, we have put that in the category of people in Congress, senators included, who try to do things in D.C. that they haven't tried in their own states. And our Congresswoman has been very effective in beating those things back. We will, however, continue to make a push for the senator to withdraw this particular piece of legislation, which is particularly egregious, we think, in light of the incident, the very tragic incident in his state.
Did you ever think about going to his office or kind of asking him to come to yours to talk about this?
Those are all good ideas, and I think we will leave everything on the table.
Mayor Bowser, last
Yes.
week the senator appeared with the chairman of the council and Councilmember Che at the Russian Embassy Street dedication naming ceremony.
Senator Rubio did?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. Mm-hmm.
You were not there. Was there a reason that you did not go to that event with Senator Rubio?
I'm not sure that I was included in that. It was a council-led initiative. I'm not sure that we were included in that.
Do you think it was a good idea for the council members to stand shoulder to shoulder with the senator at this event, given his stance on D.C. guns?
I'm pretty sure that the council members were there to advance a piece of legislation that was unanimously approved by the council, and I think that that's appropriate for them to do.
Can I ask you one more thing? I talked to David Grosso yesterday, and I asked him if he called you or you called him to ask him to back off from this probe. Can you talk a little bit about the conversation? He says that he, in fact, called you, and you all chatted about this. Did you ever ask him not to call you to testify in front of the committee?
No, he told you yesterday that he called me to tell me how he was going to proceed. And we had a good conversation, and what he told you as well was that he determined that his time was best spent really focused on all of the kids in DCPS and the very big issues that we have, making sure we focus on attendance, we finish the year strong, we're making sure that we're getting ready for the next school year, and we're dealing with the real questions that you've already heard on attendance and graduation.
So did you ask him not to hold the hearing?
His characterization of the conversation was correct. Even though I don't normally talk about those conversations, I would say his characterization was correct.
Would you have testified if the hearing had been held?
I think you know I've already talked about that.
You said you wouldn't participate in a political circus. Would you have testified? What if you had been subpoenaed?
I've already talked about that, Mark, and I think what's important for us to focus on, like I said, is how do we get a great finish to the school year, get ready for the next year, and deal with the very real questions around attendance and graduation, and that's how we'll be spending our time.
What sort of timeline would you like to see the D.C. Inspector General move forward, considering that I believe the board stated that they might have some maybe interim results in the next few weeks?
I don't know what you're referring to with that, but just like with anything that they do, they have to be thorough and they have to be expeditious. Thank you.